buddy. Isn't that cool? That's cool. Nice to know. By the way, also, that's well done, Swiss. Right out the gates, I did not realize that the quote-unquote Food Line Bowl, as I've called it, between Iowa State and Kansas State, they've got a nickname for it, Farmageddon. For Ireland, they're calling it Farmogeddon. Is well played. There you go. Good times. That game will be here soon. And a bunch of games will be here soon because I've done it every day for like 50-something days. Why don't we keep the tradition alive? The number is 8. 8 days, 23 hours, 51 minutes, and 53, 52, 51 seconds until the start of college football. Does that move you? Because 8 does. I think 8 does. 8 gets you stirring a little bit. Really, basically, anything under 50 got us stirring, if we're being really honest. You know that it did. We were, at that point, we were like, okay, it's go time. I am admittedly, it's good that we've been getting the players and the coaches and the availabilities after practice. I think the news of the day today, Tom, is that Squirrel was in a boot. That's not ideal. That he's seen in a boot. You start doing the math. How many days does it take to get out of a boot and feel good and be at 100%?
I think it'll be okay. It doesn't sound like not all boots are worn equally.
That is correct. And also, the trend became not all that long ago that if you so much as felt a mere annoyance around your ankle, foot, hamstring, calf, anything, like put a boot on it. They were booting you no matter what. You got a cramp, put a boot on it. Slight scratch by the ankle, boot it up. Boot it up. So, that kind of, that's why I always, when we see players with boots, I go, okay, well, that's not good. Is that a necessary boot or a precautionary boot is the question that we'll need to get to the bottom of. Bottom line is, Squirrel's going to be an important part of what they do. Seeing him in a boot puts you, a little uneasy. A little uneasy because we just got done talking at length about the fact that there aren't receivers. They've got 3.
Turn my mic on. And
they got 3.
That's what I've heard behind closed doors too.
Yeah.
Is that Tim Harris is not afraid to say that in the room to challenge the other guys, which I like hearing because every time that somebody's brought up from the coaching staff and some kind of storyline is brought up about how are they managing the guys, how's this happening, how's that happening, to a man, they're all quite transparent and frankly blunt when it comes to what's cutting it and what's not, who's cutting it and who's not.
There's a theme because we were talking about Javon Boggs and how quickly he's been able to enter into the conversation. And then, of course, there's been the conversation about a lot of the freshmen, to the point where we talk about one of them, if not multiple players that are freshmen or redshirt freshmen that are going to be expected to play and play right away, and not just play, but play well and be key members of the team. And I think that provides 2 things. Excitement, certainly. I'm always excited about young, up-and-coming players who make an impact from day one, who catch the coach's eye, who remain consistent throughout a camp. Because that's one of the hard things to do when you're young. When you're really young and you're coming in from straight out of high school, you might hit the ground running right away early on, but then the wear and tear and dealing with kids that are bigger, stronger, faster on a daily basis, unlike what you had to deal with in high school, can weigh on you. The types of practices, the rigor, the types of workouts, those kinds of things are oftentimes ratcheted up greatly, certainly when you get to college as opposed to high school. And so you expect that maybe there's a moment in camp where there's a lull. So the guys who get past that and don't have that happen, you do get excited about it. It's nice to know. It's also a byproduct of some things that are not so good about where the program's at. That there would even be a need for this many freshmen to have to come in and A, play, and B, it's a little disconcerting that they came in and immediately were the best players they had.
Not great, Bob.
No, not ideal. Not ideal. Like, oh, that guy? Yeah, he's probably the best we got at the position. Well, we've had like 9 other guys the last 3 years that were waiting to play. None of them have developed. None of them are any good. Some of them were names that we were excited about at the time that they said, yes, they're not getting any time and they're being surpassed by true freshmen. Jeez, man. I get the outlier here or there. I get the kid that comes in and there's a wow factor and he's transcendent. And maybe you look at a guy like a Cromall and you'd say, okay, well, I mean, that's a grown-ass man. He's like 220 pounds. He's thickly built. He just may be one of these freaks of nature that you bring in. It happens sometimes. Or a guy has unbelievable speed, and so that plays in any era in any way, and you can get it on the field right away, and you say, well, I got to utilize it. He's running 4.4. I mean, I got to get him out there. Okay, but they're saying it about defensive tackles. They're saying it about nose guards. They're saying it about, a lot of guys right now, and I don't love that, and I do like it. If that makes any sense. And I think that's kind of the story of camp right now. That and the race to see how much they can get installed and run efficiently. How much can they get these kids to feel comfortable with? I guess the last thing that you would be waiting to hear about is how healthy are they on opening day? How healthy are they when they kick it off against Alabama? Do they have requisite depth to go along with whatever it is they were able to ascertain through the assessment process, the install process, and then now obviously designating starting assignments, because we're coming really close to that now. We're about to be there, period.
Yeah, I would think probably middle of next week they want to have their decisions.
They got to know. Because you got to start repping it. You got to start game planning.
Well, and Norvell said that, there's a hybrid day, a half and half day coming on Saturday in which they won't call it a scrimmage. But they're going to go to the ground more. The one thing he did say, at this point, if you've earned status, you got your stripes, you're one of the starters, you're not going to the ground. But for those guys that are still battling for slots, maybe you're trying to fill out the 2 deep, maybe there's a position battle at one of those positions, maybe cornerback number 2. The way that Pat Surtain spoke to the media today, it sounds like cornerback number 2 is not decided yet.
That's interesting to me. I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that, though. I mean, we know they love Jerry. Jerry's starting.
Jerry's in.
Jerry's been starting since the day he arrived.
And Jerry's name is now Jerry.
And I like that it's Jerry. It's just Jerry. The thing about Jerry is they went out and got him even though we thought they had a lot of players at the position. Let's just put it that way. I don't know about depth of talent or whatever, but they had a lot of players, a lot of highly touted guys in that secondary that they had brought in. It was the segment group that I thought they were most consistent in recruiting. Higher end players. Now, not all of them have developed and not all of them have turned into the players we hoped they'd be. Some of them are no longer here even. We just got done talking about that. But you knew they had options. And so when they went out and got him, I thought, oh, that's not good. That means they don't like their options. That means that the new coordinators got here and went, not ideal. Not great. And so they brought in a surefire thing, or what they believe to be a surefire thing. Somebody who's proven it and done it and played well in games, college football games, lots of them. And they brought him in. And day one, they're like, yep, like him. He's nothing if not confident, but he backs it up on the field, plays really hard, has a zeal for the game that's infectious. All right, we're good. Set it, forget it. The other side, they've been battling this whole time, and they still don't know. All right, fine. I like competition.
Well, it tells you if they didn't get Jerry Wilson, we'd be in real freaking trouble, which is crazy.
Tom, right now, I'll be honest with you, if they didn't go and get Kevin Wynn, if they didn't retain the commitment of Kevin Wynn, where would they be? Because it sure sounds like that a freshman is going to get a lot of effing playing time at defensive tackle. The Desir twins are talked about incessantly.
I spoke to the media today.
What if they didn't get Darrell and Mandrell? What if they didn't get them? That'd be a problem.
and they aren't exactly the headliners from your defensive end class. Like, if you're ranking the guys just in terms of stars, you've got Tylon Lee and then Harold, the LSU flip, and then the Desirs. And yet here they are. on the precipice of
I
play.
don't love this. I do not love. I mean, listen, maybe the Desir twins are the shock of college football this year, at least from a recruiting standpoint to what translates first year, right? We might be like, well, nobody saw this coming. Kids are great. Maybe they are. I don't like that you got 3 guys on the defensive front that are all freshmen, and you're saying, yep, looks like that's the group that's most consistent. Like, more consistent, apparently, than, say, Daryl Jackson. Damn it, man.
I've heard Daryl's been all right, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It's not exactly Tony White coming to the podium speaking on Daryl Jackson.
At all. Like, ever. I do. So, if you want further proof, and I know just because you say a thing doesn't make it so, but it's funny in light of what Daryl Jackson, the aforementioned, said to me in our interview when I asked him about other players that he's been impressed with. And he brought up Mr. Wynn and said, well, he's strong like I am. That was his quote. He's like, man, he's strong like I am already as a freshman. And today, to back that up, Kevin Wynn was interviewed and he said, I've got that country strength. Sounds like my man's just country strong.
Since we're speaking about measurables, I classify myself as a James Williams truther. I don't believe that he's anywhere near 260 pounds.
Okay, so this is a funny story. Can we let's back this up?
All
so
right.
I said on the air the week before I interviewed him that he was 265, 270 pounds.
He said himself within the interview that
Wait,
he was.
hold on, that was
All
later
right.
because prior when I said that, Ira was listening, others were listening to me talking about him, and they're like, Cameron must have misspoke. That's insane. Literally told you, like, Jeff, what the hell is Jeff talking about telling people this kid's 260 plus pounds? So I was pissed about that because I didn't make it up. He had already told me that pre-interview. We had talked to him.
Well, and he was listed at 265 or 266 on the spring roster.
Right. So one of the questions I asked him immediately was, how heavy are you? What do you weigh? Just to make it a point that I wasn't out here willy-nilly. And he said, whatever he said, 265 or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And he knew he was going to lose a few pounds once camp started.
Yeah, here's the thing.
You don't think he's 260 pounds?
No, here's why. Today, interviewed were the Desir twins. They're listed at 6'5", 262. You put them side. You know what? I'll make a point to you before the show's over to show side-by-side photos that we take from every press conference. That, and by that, I mean the Desirs look like they are 260 pounds. James looks like he's 242. I'm telling you. And even the math he was doing when he was interviewed a week ago, he said, well, since I got here, I put on about 20, 25 pounds. He was 220 and change when he got here. And I'm losing about 6 pounds a day in practice, and it's tough to keep that on. I'm like, yeah, man. It doesn't mean you're not going to be productive. It's just
listen,
that
there are NFL
spring,
defensive ends that are 248. So
sure,
I mean, that's fine. You can
exactly.
do it. Yeah.
And he has been praised for his work becoming better against the run and being a 3-down player.
But you're not buying it.
If I hear the Desir twins name one sport, they're going to be one Desir on first down, another Desir on second down, and James Williams on third down. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. But just the photos of them, take a look at those at Warchant on X. Look at the photos of those dudes today. That is 265.
At least I can tell you that Kevin Wynn looks every bit 330 pounds.
Yes, he does. Yep. No arguments there.
I mean, when you look at Kevin, you're like, Jesus, that's a big man. So, okay. You know what happens when you have the conversation that we're having? You start trying to do the math against an Alabama offensive line that's got 3 NFL to be starters. 2 in the first round. And you go, this doesn't add up. This is not a fair fight. This doesn't look like we're going to be able to line up and be as physical as we need to be consistently against that group. It doesn't look that way. It doesn't sound that way. A lot of freshmen going against a junior-senior laden offense up front with those backs.
At least they are the size and they're starting to look the part. I know they're freshmen. I get it as it relates to the Alabama game. Your point stands. At least they're not freshmen who are 235 and we're claiming they're 250. Okay.
Well, that's right. But you did name a veteran that's we're claiming is 250 that you
but
think
he's
is
at least
230.
produced. He's at least produced in situations that I feel comfortable if we can bother to get him in 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8. All right.
Yeah,
we got ourselves something here. But I don't know how we're going to get to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. That's the question.
I think you're just lining up and recognizing the game plan right now. Look, it'll be interesting to see what Tony White does about it. If you're Alabama, we get so much into play calling and what should be the game plan and what's a team going to do or would they do, and you protecting a starting quarterback that hasn't played a game like this on the road ever. Well, the number one way to protect that guy is to hide him behind one of the nation's elite offensive lines and hand the ball off to a deep backfield and just bludgeon Florida State.
Yeah.
If you're Alabama, line up and bludgeon Florida State. Now, listen, if that's what's happening and Tony says, okay, I've got an answer for this, then you're going to end up in a situation where your corners, and this is where figuring out who that other corner is going to be on an island against a very, very good receiver.
It doesn't sound like they're going to play a lot of man, but they might in that situation if Jerry is singular and the drop-off between he and the next corner is drastic. That is something to watch. Is he following him around the field? And yes, the fog of camp. I haven't used it in the last couple of weeks, but this is my thing now. The fog of camp, the alarm bells are going off. Because if Juju and the Desirs are being mentioned over and over again.
Every day?
What does that say about the O-line, too? It's just, that's one of the things. We can't know. We're not watching. But even if we were watching, you'd have to pause. Because camp provides false answers. I'll go back again to the 2023 Noles that went undefeated. In camp, they run block like men. And it looked like the strength of the team was going to be on the ground. And their pass pro was shaky. But in reality, when they got on the field, they couldn't block for the run.
They could not.
And the pass was how they lived and they died. And that's what got them through most of their
And it wasn't a great offense.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't a very productive offense.
No,
second half of the season.
It wasn't as entertaining as 22, but it was still on pace before the receivers got banged up with injuries to produce upper 30s in terms of points per game.
We didn't think that Jordan played all that well.
No, I think 22 was a better season for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was not afraid to use his legs.
You had the LSU game in 23. You had the second half of Duke.
Against LSU.
The second quarter against Clemson. And the Wake game on the road. But, that was a layup. Other than that, it was pretty uneven.
No, and Mike was beginning to fade as a play caller.
Yeah.
Because they took away outside zone and he didn't know how to handle it.
But they could run in camp. So coming out of camp, we're thinking, well, they're going to be able to run the ball. Nope.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm not sitting here pounding a panic button. I'm just saying you can see this start to crystallize. And I'm curious to see, because Tony, obviously Tony's no dummy. He knows his situation. And he's probably had a good long look at what Alabama is. I'll be curious to see what you can, if anything, do for this particular matchup.
But the good news is they went into Columbus last year and turned in that effort against an offense that's better than the one he's going to see in 15 days, 16 days.
Dominated, at least in terms of holding on to the football. This is where Gus's offense is going to be really important.
Yes, and the tempo in which we run it.
Yes.
For Tony, it's at least he's been here before. Game planning for an NFL opponent across the board, that offense is way better than the one that's going to be coming in here in 16 days.
What's the conversation like? This is a conundrum. We've been watching nothing but a grand conundrum for these two coordinators. Gus wants to play fast. Gus wants to play tempo. That's the best way to offset the physical disadvantages that he has going against Alabama's defensive line. He knows they can't block him straight up. He knows they've got to use the quarterback's legs to change the math. He knows they have to play fast in order to try to catch Alabama flat-footed on their heels, maybe not lined up properly, maybe not able to communicate as quickly and easily as they'd like because you're playing so fast. So he's got to play that way in order to have success on offense. But it's the number one thing that kills Tony White's defense if you do that. If you have a quick 3-and-out or even a quick score, they're screwed. So what is your thought? I'm going to beat Alabama 48-45?
That's why Mike gets paid the big bucks, because he's got to make that decision. I think that's why Mike and Tony have talked about when we have a chance for a turnover, we got to land on that chance and make it happen.
Yeah, but you can't. There's no coaching that.
Well, but he's saying they're in a position to pick off a pass and they're dropping it. That's what they're talking about.
Well,
I think the urgency in their voice tells you that they know that when
I'd rather him drop it in practice than a game. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like that's a thing that you say, oh, well, he dropped 2 interceptions in practice, therefore he'll probably drop the one in the game. They're defensive backs. They're not receivers, so they don't have great hands to begin with, and they're going to have their fair share of drops. That's just what's going to happen. I hope they're just in a position to make a damn play on the ball. Let's put it that way.
Agreed. I think that's what they're getting at, though, is we're in position, and when we're in position against Bama, we have to make good on that. We can't be getting that vacuum effect in the crowd going, oh, when it was 1st and 10 on the plus 20 because the kid made a mistake. Simpson made a mistake.
My friends at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, Hot Springs, have jumped into the cold plunge game to go along with their excellence in the hot tub world. So now you can get both if you go by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. When you go there off of Greer Street, you'll see that showroom. It's something to behold. Lots of different levels of tub, if you will. You've got the 5-seater, Tom likes to call the Pentagon. You've also got just a cozy little twosome. That's what you got right there, just the two of us tubbing it up. And then you have the cold plunge. Then you've got everything in between. You got it all. They make it affordable. You can finance it. Luxury is headed your way. They'll pick up the old tub, give you some money towards the new tub. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, if you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So, I don't care what happened with the Hussey situation. I care that something was done about it. And there are all kinds of rumors and reports regarding the Hussey situation, how it arrived where it did. You've heard people say that he desperately wanted to be on the team and that he begged the coaches not to kick him off the team. You've heard that there may have been a squabble. You've heard that there, at the very least, there was blatant disrespect back and forth, or that there was,
that wouldn't be the first time.
Right. And so you hear all these things. I don't know what's true, but I know what is true is he's no longer here and he was kicked off the team. It wasn't a matter of choice. He didn't leave on his own. He got told to have a good day. And that's a good starting point. You need to get back to there are rules here, man. There are things you have to do in order to be on this team, things you have to do to have an opportunity to play. And, look, whatever. Hopefully he grows and learns from it, I guess. But sucks. But that you can't have lawlessness within the program. You got to be able to say, hey, man, across this line. So I'm just glad that it happened. And it does sound like on both sides, your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator came in thinking, we get the message. We know some things have to change. And Mike, to his credit, now you can have a big picture conversation. I get it. I think there's a lot of people that are of the mindset that, look, it's not a good look to ever go 2-10, B, relinquish your expertise to somebody else and have them come in from the outside. The other argument is, hey, man, they could barely score 14 points a game last year. It needs to be in the hands of somebody else. For whatever reason, my man was either too distracted, too bogged down, or antiquated, and the game passed him by. But whatever it was, you're not allowed to come back and call those plays again. My man, that ain't going to happen. So
I know many things were open and they dropped them, but you needed all those things to get you to 20.
Yeah, I was going to say, you would have needed all those just to drop 20 on somebody or 17. This was not a very fluid offense, to say the least. So that's the way it works. That to me, it's you've got a little bit more discipline. You may not have the personnel. You may, but let me say this though. For as much as that is rather foreboding to play this many young players this soon in a game like Alabama, it does give you hope that something we certainly didn't see a year ago will most definitely take place this year, and that is a team that gets better as the year goes on. That a team will improve as the season goes along.
Yeah, I'm not trying to move the goalposts. I think in week 1 you'll have an opportunity to compete in that game and keep it within touch. I really do. But as we're getting closer to it and I'm hearing the coaches speak on how practice is going, how they're encouraged by a lot of things, but they really would like to see more people step up in the middle tier, the second tier of the depth chart. I'm thinking what you're talking about, which is, yeah, that team that flies up to Charlottesville could be far superior, like a humongous jump from the team that runs out of the tunnel here at Doak for the Alabama game, because they're still going to be working on cultivating what they need to cultivate. And this Alabama thing just kind of gets in the way of that, unfortunately. Instead of a lot of times that game is a crescendo. 2022, we didn't even know it would be. But within the first quarter and a half, you go, holy cow. I know Brian Kelly's in his first year. I didn't expect us to look like the better team by multiple scores, because we did. In 23, that was a more natural landing place. Like, yeah, this is all building towards this moment to start the season and announce ourselves for a playoff run against LSU.
With authority.
And even though it started a little shaky, by the third quarter, you're going, oh, yeah, this
better
is
team. We're the better team.
We're the better team. This time, boy, I wish this game was like it is next year. Next year, this game is
week 3, isn't
week
it?
3.
Yeah.
And it's just right out the gate. And I'm hearing the coaches work in a race against time. And they might win it and make this thing really impressive but it won't be the same way it looks in October as long as everything holds together.
If they win it, I think they're going to get a little bit of help. Something will have to have happened in the turnover game that benefits them, something maybe in the special teams game, although it doesn't sound like we're really set on a punt returner just yet. I mean, not that that's the only element of special teams, but some things would have to be, going their way. They have to win the turnover battle, like +2.
Yeah, probably.
They got to have a big play in special teams to set up a short field. And, maybe the element of surprise. Big plays on defense with the havoc rate or something.
Yeah, the quarterback needs to look like a first-time starting quarterback, even though he's had some experience. Simpson has to look that part. Shook at times.
Yeah. Confused. That's the only way, because physically we're not better than Alabama. But we knew that going in.
Right. And neither was Oklahoma last year or Vandy or even that Michigan team.
Oklahoma's defense was really good, though, last year. Really good against everybody. They were really, really good. I mean, they had bad games, but they were good they got worn down because all of their receivers got hurt and they weren't out there. And so their offense would go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. We've seen that game before.
For sure. But I mean, the teams that they lost to 6 times, whatever, in the season weren't Alabama talented. No. They did not live up to what they should have in year 1 of DeBoer. There's no getting around that. I do think that, another year in the system with their old offensive coordinator, his old offensive coordinator back, and a guy that can throw a accurate pass will help Alabama. I mean, to your point, you said it, play Jalen Milroe in this game than you would Ty Simpson. Probably so, because he's a coin flip.
He might give you the ball.
Yeah, before the game starts, it's a coin flip. Now, if you get the good one, you got no chance. But if you get the bad one, yeah. My question is, if you look at DeBoer's career outside of Penix, who is he? And perhaps this season you get to that place where the talking point around him is, even though he's got his OC back, look at that dude kicking ass for the Falcons in the NFL. If he doesn't have that guy, then he is just your replacement level head coach. Nothing special. That is a working theory that I hope is true. But if you look at his career record outside of having that stud, it's not altogether impressive.
I think it's true of almost every coach in America, almost everyone, that the greatest teams that you have are, helmed by a very good quarterback.
And he doesn't have one yet in Alabama. Maybe the Simpson kid is, but if they were doubting it into fall camp, that's good for us. It's better than them saying, we have our guy back in March.
I am very, very curious. Do you just stack it? I mean, what's Tony going to do?
He's going to try and confuse, because even in the run game, if they see it, they'll block it. So I think you're going to have to try and confuse all of those little communications and their timings as best you can, which in a sense, probably not the worst thing in the world. You have Gus's offense you're going against as well in this camp for that reason. Because Gus was just saying, he's like, well, we need to get our guys with experience to work together because there's all kinds of timings that this defense messes with. Like,
that made me laugh.
I need to hear that from DeBoer when the game's over.
Well, he sounded so pissed, though. It almost, there was animosity. Like, can you just run a standard defense so that I can run my plays?
First half of it was pretty beige, which was good.
yeah. Can I just run my plays? Damn it. That's how close
we got some good work in there against the base.
Shannon Young made the move a while back to cross-country mortgage. Shannon's a guy that I know very, 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 very well, and so I don't mind endorsing him because he's good at what he does, and he's a good person. He's a hard worker, relentless and goal-oriented. He's all those things that you want, but more than just competent. He's excellent within his field. Serves 7 different states currently: Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Better rates, better options for you as a home buyer. Looking for that loan, he'll help you get it. He'll give you a lot of different options, and you've got a chance to buy your dream home. Loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So, got to give my man some credit here on the show. Communications Department extraordinaire Mark Ziegler, prof, bought me something and then and dropped it off today, and I didn't get a chance to see him. So there you go. How about that? He got me a shot glass, a pirate shot glass. Now,
what's in it?
There's nothing in it.
Oh, what was in it?
There was nothing.
No.
It wasn't. I wasn't here when he dropped it off, but I want to thank him. I mean, he's all the way in Pittsburgh, and he's thinking about your boy. And he brings me back a shot glass. And it's a nice one, too. That's a nice shot glass. And so thank you, Mark. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. And he's one of the good ones over there at FSU.
I know it. I'm in like the 3% of comm students that didn't have a section of his. I had Bill Lawson for speech. I didn't have Ziegler.
There he is. He's thinking about your boy right there, Pirates.
You know who else is in Pittsburgh? Obviously, the Bucks, I guess, are playing up there this week for preseason.
Yeah.
But our pals at JBF are up there.
Oh, yeah?
And they snapped a photo today outside of Primanti Brothers, and I said, hey, go to that Italian place next door and sit upstairs.
Yeah.
Because that was a good spot.
Well, we had a delicious meal there.
We did. Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I do want to say, I'll put a ribbon on this. So Mark tells me that he's dropped this off and says, listen, no big deal, but your team's so bad, I feel like you've earned that. That's what we got, Mark. That's how we roll.
Hey, you know what? You saw the 3 biggest wins of the season in sequence this year with your own eyes for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dominance.
We're the weirdest team in baseball for much of this year. We beat your ass in historic fashion.
A lot of people have those subsequent to that.
Not like that. It's still a record. 41-4 or whatever the hell it was.
It was a lot of icy lights. I think I had 41.4 icy lights.
They were so delicious. They were delicious. That was nice. Anyhow, so that 3-game throttling, but then we turned around and did that to the Detroit Tigers, who are also really good.
That's true. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the Sunday in the cover of the Batter's Eye,
which was awesome.
It's a great spot.
It was a great spot.
And the third home run you hit, the guy next to you is like, 7-2 Pirates over the left field wall. I'm like, yeah, I know, man.
I'm watching. Yeah, that was.
It is.
When Tommy Pham went yard, I was like, "Oh, buddy, you love him." And so, and he hits an oppo blast, his second of the year, by the way.
# good clubhouse guy.
So Pham lays into that one, and I look at it, and you were at such an angle you couldn't see it, and I leaned out over so that I could tell whether or not it was high enough, and I go, "That's gone," and you're just like,
"I'm sure it is." Yep.
And that was a weird series because not only did you not pitch, but like your defenders all looked like a-holes in that series. It was unbelievable.
The whole thing. Best part of it was the rain delay. The views and then the rain delay. The rain delay at the bar. That was great.
Well, we had a blast.
Heady times. Better than watching my sorry sad recruit.
I'm not going now. Listen, you guys are questioning whether or not this shot glass will make it. If we trade Skeens. First of all, we're not going to trade Skeens anytime soon at all. But then secondly, I wouldn't break this shot glass just because the Pirates were pirating. The Pirates have done this you go back a long ways and watch many a good player find his way to another roster. Like, go back to Aramis Ramirez if you want. I mean, we go on and on and on. Yeah.
He was good for the Cubs.
Yes.
I know. That's the point of what you're saying.
He was really elite for us, too. They traded him to the Cubs where he was elite for the Cubs. Yes. So
he's a bit of a head case, Gare.
Yeah, he's really effing good is what he is. Damn it, man. That was that's a frustrating thing. I just sit around and admittedly root for Bob Nutting to die.
Yeah, the Pirates, when they pirate things, it's your undying loyalty. They know that it's there, and that's their treasure that they rob from you routinely.
It's Bob Nutting. Fiery car crash. Fiery car crash. Let's go.
So my buddy who's a Twins fan texted me this week.
Oh,
Did you see that?
well, did you see the release is
Yes.
just a bend over.
And he said, "Do you want room on the train?" I said, "Hey, for all the resources we have, we suffer. So by all means, join up, become a Mets fan." He says, "They're not selling." And then he showed me the note. Oh no. God.
It's, that release from the poll ads is as tone deaf as there's ever been. Citing the passion of Twins fans. Yeah, the passion for you to be gone. That's the passion of the Twins fans, not, oh, we were thinking about selling, but now we want to keep it because we see your passion. Yeah, they were celebrating you leaving. They thought you were selling the team. You implied you were selling the team, and now you're telling them, well, on the heels of all that passion, I've decided to keep the team. No!
Don't worry. Our struggles will all be over by Easter. You'll see. It'll be a beautiful thing.
It's hilarious. Yeah, like, no, that's a toughie, but that's the tone deafness. Look, we're running down on baseball. We're moving to football, and there's a lot of it, and I'm trying to get my head right for all of the footballing. And I think FSU is going to be a challenge for us as a fan base. Like, you've got to steel yourself for this. We're entering an important time off of a dreadful, god-awful time.
I appreciate this about you. You said this during the break 2 breaks ago. You are trying to get people ready for the beginning of this season in a proper fashion that doesn't see them want to burn it all down after 60 minutes of football. And I appreciate that. You're working very hard to cultivate realistic expectations according to what you think it might happen or will happen. But you're working hard for the people. They should know that.
Listen to me. And David, I'm well aware, believe me, as a diehard Pirates fan, I consume everything. I know that Mark Cuban wanted to buy the Pirates and the MLB wouldn't let him buy it. Asinine. But anyhow, enough about the Pirates. Let's get back to what I'm doing here. I want people to understand that it's not me like sculpting anything. I'm saying that I think this is a bad matchup for us. And I'm also saying I don't think it means we're a bad team. I'm saying it could be something unpleasant. It could be something we're not enjoying to sit through in week 1, fresh off of the disaster of a season ago. But hang in there, because I think they're going to be tougher. I think they're going to be better coached. And I think that they're going to get better as the season progresses. Now, I can't predict injuries, and that would send everything askew. I don't know what to do with that. If you have a lot of injuries, that's like any club for the most part. You have a bunch of injuries, then what are you going to do? You're kind of like, oh.
Yeah, that's a Johnny Ray Jones rule number 3. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Half my guys are out. Well, my hands are tied. So that's where you're at when something like that happens. So I can't predict that. And knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But I think that if they're largely healthy, they're going to be injuries, it's football. But if you're largely healthy throughout the year, I think this team gets better as the season goes along. I think they'll be well coached. I think they'll be tough-nosed. I think they'll have a chance to fight and win a bunch of football games. It's just that I'm not so sure week 1's going to go the way we want it to. And we've spent the entire offseason dreaming of this football game. And it's just not an ideal matchup.
Well, and the two sides of the schedule coin is you have a ramp up before you get into ACC play after the Alabama game. And you also have a ramp up before you get into ACC play after the Alabama game. So you're going to have to sit with the Alabama result for multiple weeks.
Yeah, but
because the other 2 games aren't going to tell you a whole lot, and you got a bye week in between that. So that's the hard part here. We often talk about it during the season. A loss before a bye week is so bad.
That's brutal, yeah.
Because you just have to stare at the wall. We essentially have multiple byes after the Alabama game. So whatever it is, just hopefully it's not. Somebody asked you in the chat, is this 2016 Louisville, Jeff? That's what Sacknoll is asking you.
I'm not telling you. Now, that game, that was a very interesting set of circumstances, and I saw the writing on the wall. I get a lot wrong, I get a lot right, and everything in between. People only remember when you get it wrong. But that game I got right because I understood that they were having horrific culture issues in that locker room at the time, and Jimbo was we were starting to move towards a dark place. And I did not like what I was hearing from him when I would talk to him, and I didn't like what I was hearing from my sources that were at practices. And it just all gelled in such a way that I was like, this isn't good. They're going to be sky high. They've got game day, and they've got this freak at quarterback who's going to want to put on a show because of the spear that's on the side of that helmet represents college football royalty. And so this all adds up to a nightmare if we get off to a poor start. And they went, and then there you go. And they quit. It was the first of many times that they quit on him. And we knew the plane was headed for the side of the mountain.
Odell was the only one who had the guts to challenge, to answer people's challenges.
So
that's not a good sign.
Here's a good thing, though. People ask this in the chat. Like, here's what I do want to see. And listen, look, again, I am allowing for it's week one. Crazy things happen. Maybe Bama isn't as fine-tuned in week one as they'll be in week 3, 4, 5, and 6, and it'll look like a totally different team. I mean, I certainly could argue that as that year went on for LSU, that became a much different looking Jaden Daniels in offense. I mean, they ended up being as prolific as you could imagine an offense in the SEC being. But hey, tough luck. Game's played when it's played. Suck it up, Buttercup. Got to be better. But here's the deal for us. I mean, maybe we get lucky that way, and maybe we have some surprises and throw the kitchen sink at them because we do have 2 automatic wins in a bye week. So you just throw everything in the world at them, and then you implement more in the next 3 weeks before you play Virginia, and you're able to, provide something of a different look. I get it. It's all possible. I don't know that it's likely, but it is possible. So I hold out hope for that. But what I really want to know is how do they react? Whether it's 30-20 or 38-10, how do they react? Are they tough? Do they play hard? Is it the fourth quarter and you're down 3 scores, but you're flying to the ball and you're making tackles and you're picking each other up, slapping each other on the ass? You care? You care to be there? You still care to be there after that? What's that going to look like? Because last year, when they got punched, they quit. And that can never happen again. And I don't think it'll happen, but it is a weird era of college football. I think a lot of coaches, not just us, have to worry about this sort of thing, but we're in a unique position coming off of 2-10. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
The Jeff Cameron. Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Warchant TV, we appreciate you. And obviously, if you're listening on 93.3, we appreciate that as well. It's Tallahassee's only locally owned and operated radio station. So thanks for supporting local. It is funny to watch the discussion play out during the breaks. I think that, a lot of times in a chat room or a message board or whatever, there's it lacks a little context sometimes with or tone. You don't really know what the person meant, if they're saying something negative or positive, like how verbose or whatever, you don't know. And listen, I think there's room for all of that in the fan base. I don't think you're a cynical, jaded, hateful fan if you are skeptical of this team and what they'll do. And I don't think that you're an over-the-top lunatic to think that they might be good. Yeah, man. Okay. That's fair. It's a reasonable talking point.
Well, this is what happens this time of year. It's prime sprinkly dinkly season if you're really in it as a fanatic. And when I'm asked around town, what do you think? And this is also that part of the year in August.
Yeah.
So, anything? What do you think? My default answer is this team is a grand mystery. I think there's a baseline of talent and a baseline of coaching that you can expect that it won't be as bad as last year. But beyond that, what the Bama game is going to be is an absolute mystery. And there are myriad reasons for that. And it has nothing to do with practice access. I'd say the same thing if we could have seen practice every day. It's so much new and it's all got to come together. In this sport, it's so much harder to do. If you had a basketball program and there's turnover year over year and you have 5 new starters, that's one thing. 11 new starters on offense, I mean, that's a whole nother ball of wax that you got to be able to massage out and create chemistry and all that kind of stuff.
When people ask me if I'm worried or, I talk about games. I talk about individual matchups. I talk about that game that seems problematic. I don't tell them Alabama's unbeatable. I don't say we can't win that game. But you're asking my opinion if we will, and I say no, I don't think we will, and I understand the spread. I know why the number is the number. And it doesn't mean that, upsets happen all the time. Bigger underdogs than the one we are pull upsets. It happens. And I'm hopeful for it. I'm hopeful. But that's not how you make predictions, being hopeful. You assess the pool of talent that the coaching staff has to work with. That you can discern to a certain degree. We've seen these gentlemen play college football. We know who they are. We've seen plenty of highlights. We know what their measurements are. We know who they are. And now you don't know how they'll be used in certain offenses and defenses yet. So, it'll be interesting to see how their skill set translates. But we know something of their skill set. And we know, what Alabama's pool of players to mold is. And so you understand that you're an underdog. And that's fine. You don't play Alabama every week. You play a lot of teams that are nowhere close to Alabama. Most of this conference is nowhere close to Alabama. Clemson is the exception right now. We're trying to get back to being that. We're trying to be what we should be. And when we're right, we're a team that plays anybody, anywhere, anytime, and can beat them. That could be Ohio State. That could be Oregon. That could be Michigan. That could be Alabama. That could be Georgia. When we're right. When we're operating at peak efficiency, you're like, well, we're playing so-and-so. Good. Let's go. Let's get it on. but we're not currently operating at peak efficiency. We're not loaded. We're not at our best. We haven't been in some time. I would even argue that the team that went 13-1, that won the conference, had to overcome some real problems on offense, but they were able to do it collectively as a team. They were a really, really likable bunch because of how hard they fought, how hard they played, and how they had to lean on that defense in the second half of the season to win a lot of games. And that's, last I checked, a big part of the game as well. So you can do that. There are defensive-minded teams, there are offensive-minded teams, but you got to play to your strengths. You got to figure out how to avoid and eschew your weaknesses. The problem is we haven't, Mike hasn't really been able to build a base in recruiting outside of building through the portal and taking swings with guys from other programs. And it worked once in glorious fashion, and it failed miserably in a fashion that we all witnessed a year ago. And so it's hard to kind of know.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the trailing impact of some of those recruiting classes, and you say, well, there are a lot of 4-stars, so what? Name them that have, risen up the ranks in his 6 years, that have come through high school, that have been big-time contributors in the regular rotation. There are a few, but given the ratio of the guys that you bring in from high school, either it's been evaluation or development. Something has been terribly wrong with 1.0 of the staff, because you have this absolute need to go into the portal every year. And in this case, replace your entire offense, the entirety of it. It's all new.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Right.
I'm not a fan. It's not a good way to sustain any sort of level of success.
I think the portal is going to be totally necessary to help put you over the top every year, but it doesn't have to be at 90 to 100% of your starters.
It shouldn't be the lifeblood of how you succeed or fail.
2 to 5 in a given year.
Yeah,
right? That should be it. You bring in a starter, somebody, or at least somebody to help compete and elevate at a position group that you think, we have a starter, but he won't be pushed by anybody. We need to bring somebody in to push him to elevate the room. Yeah. Things like that. But it's been a total overhaul.
Well, this is what Clemson fans were so mad about Dabo with, and he finally acquiesced. It's like, hey, man. Look,
yeah, he's the opposite side of the spectrum, yeah.
But listen, he's proven to be right. Their program is much more consistent and sustainable at an elite level than ours currently. Has been for a while. Sucks to say aloud, but it's true. And the thing that's frustrating is that when you fall back on guys that year over year that have been within your program and that were recruited at a high level, and they're good players, like they got something like 8 to 10 guys that are projected to go to the league this year, then it makes it much easier to stomach when you go into a spring camp, let's say, and say, sucks that Wilson didn't pan out. Really had high hopes for him. He was a nice 4-star. Given the high school he played at, I thought he was going to be good, but he just hasn't shown the growth that we were hoping for. I sure hope they go out and bring in another receiver, because he hasn't panned out. I like the rest of that group, though. 2 of those guys last 2 years have really built to something, and I feel good about them. But we're going to need to go out and get another guy. So you do that. And then maybe on the other side of the ball, you go, just don't have enough depth right now at the safety position. We've got a good frontline starter that I like. They've developed him. He was recruited. That's a good thing. But there's no depth there. If he goes down, we got a true freshman behind him who I'm not in love with, has barely played. Maybe go out and get a guy that's a third-year guy that's proven it. Let's get him. That's how you want to use the portal. That's where we got to get to, in my opinion.
Totally agreed.
Now, you can do it the other way and have success. We're proof of it. But I don't think sustained year-over-year success is coming that way.
In the 2025 season, one would think that your 2022 cycle and your 2023 cycle produces a lot of dudes on your 2 deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be the time. You don't have to expect immediate results. I don't think that's fair.
Right.
Even though we're in a day and age where freshmen are doing more than ever, that's not totally
they're
fair.
allowed to play too, but we don't expect it. Yeah.
So I'm going to read off a few names from 2022, just the top of the list. You'll notice a hit, but everything else. Sam McCall, no.
Didn't work out.
A.Z. Thomas, yep.
That was a hit.
Armella, Duffy, Daniel Lyons, Jalen Early, Daughtry Richardson, Kayshawn Sapp, Antavius Woody, Aaron Hester, Rodney Hill.
No, it didn't work out.
Rodney Hill.
That's your man.
And I'll go to 23. Hakeem Williams.
Didn't work out.
Lucas Simmons.
Still waiting.
Blake Nicholson.
Not working out.
Conrad Hussey.
Off the team.
Keith Sampson Jr.
Never mentioned.
Love for KJ to get some kind of praise. Lamont Green Jr.
No longer here.
Jaden Jones. Maybe. Dre Jacobs.
Gone.
Edwin Joseph, maybe.
Maybe.
Sam Singleton. Goldie Lawrence.
Goldie Lawrence is not here, Tom.
Brock Glenn.
Never mentioned.
And then Kirkland Otto. Hopefully. I'm going top to bottom in terms of highest ranking.
It's not good, man.
Right. And
if you want to do it the other way, just grab the highest ranked recruits that he's brought in. So Hakeem. And then guys like that. Yeah, man. I see you, Jordan. Thank you, brother. Let's go, Knowles. Let's go, Knowles. I like it. Bartender extraordinaire is Jordan, by the way.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Works at our friends at Horizons.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Great guy. Good bartender. Good guy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but this is why this gets, this is how this gets complicated, man. It's that you think that there's some stuff there that you like about Mike, and then there's some things that you really don't like about Mike, and then there's the whole reality of all of this is that it doesn't matter. I don't care if you like him and I don't, or I love him and you hate him. It doesn't really matter. It's not about like. We're not talking about going on vacation together or playing around a golf. The beauty of sports is that you can love him, think he's a great guy. Some other guy might loathe him, hate his personality. Doesn't matter. Either way. You win games, man. You winning games. Are we consistently good? Is this program reaching the heights to which it should based on investment? So do it that way. Florida State has a top 25 payroll in college football. I mean, I'm going to make this overly simplistic. Florida State has a top 25 payroll in all of college football. They better be a top 25 team.
And I think that's a discussion we have not yet gotten to have in the NIL era, rev share now being what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If we're top 10 or top 15 in NIL, then I think expectations to always be top 5 or top 8 in recruiting classes are unreasonable. The location might be able to help to push you in that direction.
Only if you're losing out to the specific 8 to 10 teams that spend more than you.
Sure. Well, I think the teams behind you can spend more on certain players, and you have to
in a given year, but you ought to be able to cash in on a season or two where you finish out in the top 10 class.
Out of 5, 1 or 2 out of 5,
yeah,
something like that.
He can't do it. He can't do it after they win 13 effing games.
I understand. Now, they would have last year. Yeah. However, this is the wet blanket on everything. In one of my group chats, I don't like group chats, but I do. This one's tolerable. You got people yelling at each other about the stadium stuff and the seating and the season tickets and boosters and payments and chairbacks, all that stuff. They are yelling and yelling and yelling at each other. Some taking the side of the university, which rightly so. It's been a deal for 30 years. They had to make the transition at some point. Some saying,
yeah, but the process.
Right. And the other side arguing that, hey, man,
yeah,
I could just get that rando ticket every week and I'm going to be just fine. And you should be pissed about that as somebody who dropped a big deposit.
Let me tell you, there are going to be some pissed off
people. And back and forth they go. And I'm watching it. I even put 2 emojis in there, the eyes and the popcorn. One day I was like, ooh, I'm watching this. The problem is the 2 and 10. It would never get to this point of shouting back and forth if it wasn't for 2 and 10, the ultimate wet blanket. And that's, to your point, start winning some games, man.
I will tell you that the West chairback seats are sold at a 44% clip currently.
I'm not trying to get into the weekly sales meeting.
It's not a good thing.
But I found it funny that organically in the wild, I watched it happen.
Why did I bring that up? I brought that up because that's why they invented the thing that we talked about a couple weeks ago, the no pass, whatever the hell is it called?
No pass, I think. No pass.
Whatever it is. Do you think that the people who threw down sizable amounts of money to secure their season ticket with the West chairback seats are going to be in love with some slappy who rolls in a torn T-shirt who says, hey, my no pass is paying off in week 1 against Bama.
Well,
I'm sitting with you guys.
I don't think it's going to happen in that specific instance. But for Virginia Tech, sure. For Wake, absolutely. For Pitt,
they're
sure.
Gonna be like, mm-hmm.
So the non-marquee games, yeah, that's going to happen. Absolutely, it will.
Yes, it
but
is.
It won't
I
happen
would
for
get-
Bama and Miami.
Well, they won't let it, but I'd love to be a fly on the wall that day. Look at this riffraff. What are we doing here? Well, that's the no pass, Roger.
Are you telling me that we're on Groupon?
Oh, I love it. I just love it. I mean, it. I could do such a good bit that would offend so many people here right now. I'm not going to do it.
It's the expression. It's the condescending expression.
Oh, it's yes.
Mhm.
It's the instant judgment of.
It's the person pulling back in their seat.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I need to get in here. This
Yeah.
is where my Knoll pass is taking me.
Oh, they should do it that way. Like it's an airport aisle, so their ass is right in your face. Like, sorry, but the no pass has got me going over here. And they have to actually say no pass. Sorry, my no pass has.
As you can see here.
This would be a really good bit if we were allowed to just be as creative as we wanted to be. Oh, I can't even do this commercial.
Is Johnny going to come through with the founder suite
Oh
passes?
my God, that's got to be.
Why am I here?
I could dress the woman. I know how I would dress her.
Oh,
no, I would have her in the bright yellow and the over-the-top earrings and the whole thing, staring over at her husband like, I thought we paid.
you could get it. Yes, super absurd.
Yeah.
Can I have a sip of that, honey? Just take it. Just take it.
Oh, that is so good. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Larry in the chat says, I guess I'm old. I thought being a booster was a good thing. It is a good thing. It is a good thing. We're actually talking about how boosters are frequently mistreated. That's the point we're making. That there were a lot of people who committed large sums of money because, in fact, they are boosters and they do care. And oh, those are good. Marge, that fella's got blue hair. P. Simpson, all Knoll Pass holders are cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. Like a guest pass at a country club is well done. Lee, that's well played. Yeah. No, I would give anything to be there just to see this play out. Just to see that play out is a toughie. Hey, let's solve for the future with our great friends and partners at ISF. ISF and us have been working together now for a couple of years, and that's a great thing. You know, they do a lot of awesome things in the community here in Tallahassee, and it's a company based in Tallahassee, works with groups all across the state, companies all across the country, I should say. And that's true too of organizations that we like to work with, like the Second Harvest of the Big Bend.
It's got to be coming up on 4 years together.
It's been a long time
ISF.
together. Yeah. No, it's I love them. And Jonathan and his crew are all wonderful people, and they do good work. And
Second Harvest and Guardian Ad Litem.
Yeah.
It's a coincidence, but it's the best kind of coincidence.
Yeah. Bringing together experienced thought leaders, proven methodologies, meaningful change in the business place, lasting impact on these projects that they work with. It's good. Your vision, their expertise, make it happen. Working together, collaborating like we do with ISF. Solving for the future. I don't, we were kind of just talking about it. It fits perfectly in this segment, Tom, because of the discussion we were having about not needing such a reliance on the portal. And I would ask you, because you brought it up, you think that they're going to have to dive back into the portal waters full bore again next year. And, my question that I ask to anybody, and really I ask people whenever we talk about the portal, when is it that you break the chain? Because if you keep doing this, you're going to have to keep doing this. So this is in perpetuity so long as you keep doing it. And if you're not bringing in multi-year guys, that's the case.
Well, if you're talking about portal needs, this is where listening to the two deep or the freshman contributors at certain positions is a very important part of camp. Like if you're not just thinking about the Bama game, but you're thinking about the future of the program, when you hear things about the Desir twins or you hear things about Kevin Wynn, that's good for next year's portal situation at those positions.
Really good. Yeah.
Very good. When you hear Gus Malzahn says we have 5 guys we like on the offensive line and we're working hard to cultivate more, that's not good for the portal situation next year, because you'd love to hear him raving about Lucas Simmons and Andre Otto, Jonathan Daniels, ITT, maybe some more guys down the line. And you say, all right, they've hit on some that maybe they could graduate up the ranks in 2026. Not hearing that right now. At wide receiver, you're hearing Boggs, but nobody else behind Boggs of the group of
I'm excited to hear about Boggs, by the way.
Me too. And McCoy's been banged up, so there's a chance, and we keep on mentioning that, so there's a chance that he might get in the mix.
Elijah Moore.
Well, at some point, right? Or you're going to have to go, because Squirrel and Deuce, I'm going to assume, are both gone. And so even though I know for a fact that Deuce has another year, man, I think that they're both aiming to be done here. So that's one receiver or two next year. Quarterback-wise, I know the Castellanos eligibility thing always comes up. Okay, potentially there, or Sperry graduates up the ranks, and you've got Jaden O'Neal. So not necessarily a quarterback.
Brock Glenn is still here.
That's true. And then if you're just talking about filling out the room and not needing to go into the portal, Chroma, if he is everything that everybody says he is, you probably don't need running back. So I think it's lesser this upcoming cycle than it was the previous year.
It needs to be whittled down to being quite a bit lesser.
Right. And, even today, Patrick Surtain is talking about corners behind Jerry Wilson, and he doesn't have answers yet. Not like he wants to declare that this is Jabril Rawls' job. It's great to hear about Duty, Shamar Arnaud. It's great to hear about him playing physical and not being afraid of that next step up in the collegiate level of getting off of blocks and getting downhill and making tackles in the run game. So maybe you have an answer there, but you probably still will need a corner. You might need a safety next year. You're probably going to need at least a linebacker or two. I mean, yeah, I think in the portal you're probably looking at 10 players this next go around as a starting point.
Well, 10 beats 18.
It does.
I mean, let's get to a place where it can be 5.
And this is where watching games 2 and 3 this season is also very important as you're trying to tell the story of what do we need. And this is the thing that I love about this staff. Right now we're talking about how the competition is the talking points around competition are blunt. If they don't think you're good enough, they're being told they're not good enough, not just in the media, but to their face. It's an extension of what they did in the portal. We didn't think they needed a corner. Not only did they need one, Jerry's the only sure thing we have a corner right now. So they're not afraid to act if they think that they're not cutting the mustard.
Yeah, but the problem is, Tom, like that level of uncertainty and feeling in limbo absolutely applies to the coaching staff. So it's like the guys that we're heralding now for being blunt, straightforward, no-nonsense coaches, kicking guys off the team, having guys who were 3-year starters not even be able to scratch the 2 deep. These are all things that you would expect in a meritocracy where coaches are assessing you for your play, whether you do or you do not smoke. Like this whole thing, like, let's go. That should happen. How long's Tony here? If that defense is any good at all, he's taking the first head coaching job he can get. And then Gus, I mean, I don't know. Gus is a big guess. He says he's excited about just being a coordinator. If they have some success on offense, does he get a call to be a head coach one last time? He's only, 59? He probably would want to be a coach one more, a head coach again.
If it's a top 30, top 25 offensive unit in points per game, something very basic like that, I mean, he could be competing with Jimbo for a Power 5 opener.
For a job, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's what I mean. Like, you got guys coming in, assessing fairly, being honest, being blunt. I like it, especially with how lax things got a year ago. But I also don't know how long-term those guys are going to be.
Yeah, I think the successful pitch that you could make, meaning if you have a successful season, the pitch you could make to Tony White is, hey, man, we're on the precipice of doing something real good here. Yeah, you're going to get head coaching offers this year, but you could get a big job offer next year. If you stick around one more time, do it again. Those low-level Power 4 jobs might be an opening to a big-time institution that has a chance to win 9-10 games right away. So do you want to jump right now? That would be the good problems, first world problems at the end of the season issue.
Before this is all said and done, and I get it that people will say he can't change his stripes, and so I know plenty of people who are off of Mike for good. Like, they're done with him. They don't care what happens. They're done with him. Like, he goes 8-4, 9-3. They're like, nope, still want him gone. This isn't good enough. It's never going to be good enough because he can't recruit. And so they're off of him. There are still others that say, no, hold on. Different era, different way of building teams. He had some success. He built us from way down in the muck to up high, and we had a chance. And, yeah, he miscalculated last year, and it cost him dearly, but I still want to give him another chance. And then there's everybody in between that it's kind of like, I don't know what to make of this situation. This is crazy. All right. At some point, to be a big time and dominant year over year program, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, like, we're in shock when those schools lose 3 or 4 games. Stunned. Like, what in the hell happened there that they lost 3 games? And they're in better conferences than we're in. So how do they do it? Well, it's not because of the portal. So you at some point have to transition into being a mother on the recruiting trail. You got to be a dude who gets it done, who brings in elite talent. This year has to be a catalyst for that to ever happen, to slowly whittle down the portal as your primary means by which to build a roster and have that be secondary. This gives you a chance, if you're good this year, to become that, to have learned the lesson of last year. Like, it can't happen overnight. That's the problem. You blew it. And now you're having to start over, and that's why everybody is angst-ridden and pissed off. But that doesn't change that you can't just flip it. You're going to have to do what he just did, which is go out and get a bunch of people in the portal so that you don't suck in consecutive years. And then, therefore, if you can do it now and get to, I better see real evidence that you have changed your attitude towards being an elite recruiter.
Well, I think part of it part of that solution, if you're trying to be positive about some of the developments we've heard in camp, is they are now showing unabashed willingness to play freshmen. They will. I mean, these talking points about Wynn and the Desirs and, obviously Chroma is in a class of his own, but Boggs, Amari Williams is in his second year. You're going to let him play two ways? You don't think kids notice that on the trail? Arnaud could be in the mix. I mean, all of these things add up to a picture that you can paint that, hey, I know that other coaches tell you that only portal players make the roster or start for me. But take a look at what this team has done. That usually comes with losses because they're not experienced enough. And so you're going to have to wear a little bit and do some math here. But if you can show a kid in an 8-4 or 9-3 season, which is the upper end of this outcome, but if you can show a high school kid 8-4, 9-3 that, look at all these young kids I'm playing, we will get you on the field quickly. Yeah. We will maximize your value. That's a far different message than we've been putting out there the last few years, which is we're portal university.
Yeah.
I think it helps your pitch is my point.
I agree. I just hate that he's having to do it again. The pitch that you just described was a pitch that he got to make when he first got here. Hey, if you're young and you can play, you'll get out here. We'll play you. We obviously are rebuilding, and we need you to come help make this right. And yet still we lost our way. And that's it's just frustrating to have to do it again. That's the sigh. That's what that is. Just to have to do this all over again.
That's what we're living.
It's just, God.
That's our future.
Yeah. I remember that the same level of frustration I used to have for Clark, my youngest. He couldn't go to a restaurant without spilling something.
Oh, really?
Oh, God. He had a stretch when he was little where we dumping
like
stuff
age?
All over the table.
What age?
5, 6. It was just
okay.
constant spilling stuff, right?
It would have been funnier if he's like 10.
No, so for that reason, Dad here, when we would go sit down at a restaurant, would say, "Now, Clark, listen, why don't you move that over there? You have a tendency to," and he would get pissed about it. He didn't want to be lectured about it, even though he had done it like 4 times in a row. And I'd go, "Look, hey, why don't you move that cup over here? Give me the cup, that kind of a thing, right?" And he'd go, "No, I'm not going to spill it." I'd be like, "But you do spill it, son. You frequently spill it. We've had this conversation. I don't want to keep having this conversation. I'd like to have a meal without water being spilled all over the damn table. Can we?" And then he'd no, I'm not going to spill it. And then he'd move it, I'd like, just move it out of the way because you and your brother start talking and you get handsy, and the next thing you know, he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to spill it." 30 seconds later, water everywhere, lemonade everywhere, whatever the hell it was. And here I am, God, enraged, keeping my composure. We're in public. And I would just look at my wife and deal with him. I can't do this. And it took forever. And that's the way I get when we're having this conversation about Mike. Like, hey, man, we already did all of this. We did all of this. Why are we redoing this?
I'll share this with you. Dad, if you're listening, I love you. But my dad's hit rate when we would go to the movies of swallowing soda down the wrong way was like
very high. Coughing it up.
7 out of 10.
What do we?
And he'd have to leave the theater after.
You're like, we're trying to watch the movie.
He'd try and fight it for 15 seconds. But no, you've already lost.
Yeah.
It's already.
We've seen this.
And genetically, this happens to me too.
Yeah,
so, it happens to both of us. But for him, the movie theater, always, it would happen. And he'd fight it for 15 or 20 seconds. But you've lost. Go down the hallway.
Let it go.
It's the crying kid in the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're going outside.
Pick him up. Get him out of here.
You didn't even want to come see this movie anyway. It's all right. Be back in a minute. But always with the it's always a surprise noise.
Oh, it's the worst too. And you know it. You're trying to keep it together.
As when I was in high school, oh, come on now. You're way too self-conscious in high school. I'm embarrassed. Like anybody can see you, Tom. It's in the dark.
Yeah.
But it was the hit rate was very high.
Oh my goodness. If your roof has suffered storm damage or you're worried about it, older roof, something like that, T-Spark knows how to work with the insurance companies and help navigate the insurance process to help put your home back to pre-claim condition. They'll get you right. They'll get you right at T-Spark. We know that. We're happy they're on board with us. Heavy rains wear down shingles, other elements of the roof, high winds, and rainfall after storms can involve lost shingles, all of those things. The water eventually obviously compromises the structure. You want to protect your house, protect your family. You can do it with T-Spark Enterprises. Give them a call today, 850-766-1340. That's 850-766-1340. License number CGC 152336, CCC 1331204.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
And now I'm about to cough. So you got me right as we come back. Now I'm about to cough.
That's all right. What do you want to hear about?
The downside, without question, of of getting older is the random coughs for no reason.
Oh, yes. And buddy,
it happens. You're in the aisle at Publix. You just start coughing for no damn reason. You know that it's alienating to the folks looking at food. Like, in the movie theater.
Yeah.
You name it.
The worst is on the plane. You know, because you try to suppress it, and you know that if you start with one, it's going to be a problem. So you do that thing where you're kind of trying to press through one cough, and hopefully that clears the mechanism.
But sometimes it makes it way worse.
Right. And you go, and then now you're off to the races. Now we got no chance.
I'll tell you the next thing that I'm awaiting, and I really don't want it to happen. And I don't know if your parents do it, but I've seen a lot of parents do it. And I just don't want it to happen to me. And so far, it hasn't happened to me. I guess, I'm just in my early 50s, so maybe that's the thing. But I would say, I don't know when it started happening to my dad, but it has happened. And my mom now, too, sometimes. And it's the random discussion. Like, they call in to check on you, which is great. You want to hear from them, and you're having a conversation, and the conversation gets burdened by unnecessary detail of things that are irrelevant. So that's
totally going to happen to you.
No, it's not going to.
Camerons are storytellers.
No,
you have no chance.
But I'm also straight to the crux of the story. We're getting to it.
I don't think so. And
I do.
Here's why I'd retort. Because you're built to make sure that you can explain a story within a radio format, which has sometimes a time element where you need to set things up.
But when I'm telling you,
it becomes part of habit.
I understand. But when I'm telling you about something, when we're off the air and I call you to tell you about something, I'm not giving you the details that are non-consequential to the story, to the crux of what I'm going to say. I don't say, hey, I was driving to Publix and, I went down Thomasville Road, because sometimes when I go the other way, I don't do that. I don't do that. I just tell you I was driving to Publix. See, we cut to the quick.
That's fair.
So that's what parents do. When they get old, they do how you doing, Dad? Good, doing well, can't complain. I'm like, good, Dad, that's good to hear. I'm waiting to see why he called, what's up. And I just like hearing his voice, don't get me wrong. But
when they get to a certain age, you judge the tone too. Is everything all right?
Okay, yeah. But then he'll go, I have this appointment next week. It's just a checkup. They like to, they have me in now every 6 months instead of the yearly checkup. It's every 6 months now. It'll happen because you're getting older. The thing about that is, though, it usually falls on a Thursday. And, my Thursdays, well, that's when I grocery shop. And on Thursdays when I grocery shop, I like to go early, but they only do early appointments. And so now I don't know, do I move that to a Wednesday or a Friday? I don't like to do that because Mary doesn't work on Friday, and she's the best at that. Have you ever told you about Mary? Holy moly! What is happening right now? What is happening?
That's always been your mom. I don't think that's aged, because she's a storyteller. On the air, she'll do that, and you'll say, "Mom," and you'll say, "Lions, Eagles." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lions, Eagles, but that's the endearing part about her.
She does better than my dad with this meandering all over.
Well, I'm gonna have to check this year.
Oh, he won't do it to you. It's just to me. I don't know why. It's just on and on.
It'll have to be. Is he coming to all games this year?
Yeah, he's got season tickets. Yeah,
well, I understand that, but I mean,
he may miss one of those 2 back-to-backs after the Alabama game. Right. Yeah, he might miss one of those,
because that'll be the time I can speak with him the most. There's no chance the day before Alabama I can have a long conversation with him. It's going to be too crazy. So usually I catch up with your pops when we play a nondescript opponent, or we're in the throes of 2 and 10.
Well, catching up with my pops is fun because it's usually a football conversation, or he's been traveling. He's gone to Nova Scotia or something. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Or he's been to Alaska, and he's, that's what he does these days. He travels, or he travels when he comes to football games. So those are fun topics. You're like, you want to talk football? Let's talk football. I could do that all day long.
Or I go, what's wrong with your Mets?
Yeah.
I've been noticing, they were at the top of the standings. I'm like, yeah, I know.
He is still it's as if it's your fault, which I love. He does that to me too. Like, if the Pirates lose 4 straight, I'll get a call and be like, Buccos can't win a game these days.
That's right.
I'm like, come on, man. I'm watching the games, Dad. You just checked the.
I saw they gave up 6 again the other night. And he'll do the look like down the glasses.
Yeah, like what's wrong with your team?
Answer for them.
Why can you not stop people from scoring, Tom? Listen, man, we can't pitch. We're not good at the pitching part of baseball.
I can see that.
We struggle with it.
So do I.
Yeah. The difference is I watch it every night. I watch it every night.
Give me the Guinness.
You just looked at the box score and thought you'd bring that to the table. Yeah.
Didn't you guys slide 5 games in the East?
Yeah. We did.
We did. Lost 8-9.
What do you want me to do? Yeah, we did. We're not very good at the pitching.
Would you like to know about Tuesday's 5th inning? Because that was really the one.
Oh, man. I don't know how we got into this. It's because of coughing. We got into this because of coughing.
Yes, because you were going to cough to start the segment.
I'm not coughing to start the segment. I will tell you that I laughed at what's up? You want to do? Oh, I missed out. Sorry, somebody. Jeffrey says, I like Norvell, but he's very lucky he had that extended contract. I think he would have been gone. Second chance of grace to prove that he's still a good coach. I hope it works out. Well, Jeffrey, I think that is the sentiment of most. I think that the majority of the fan base likes Mike just fine. I think the majority of the fan base understands that at a place like Florida State, you can't go 2-10 and keep your job. Generally speaking, you go 2-10 at any school that fancies itself to be an upper echelon program competing for national titles. The 2-10 part would be evidence that you're not good enough to do that, and we're going to have to tell you to take it on down the road. Go 2-10 at Alabama. Go 2-10 at Georgia. Go 2-10 at Ohio State. Think those guys keep their job? Kirby might. Day they already hate, and he just won the national title, and they've been trying to get rid of him for some time now because he struggles with Michigan lately.
I think there was a 5% damn it energy in
when
that
they
national
won the
championship.
title. They were like, we got to keep him and his dyed beard. So, but DeBoer would be gone. If he went 2-10 this year, they'd be like, that's a wrap, buddy.
He wouldn't get to the Iron Bowl.
That's a wrap. This is Alabama, my man.
Yeah, Grubb or Womack would be coaching the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's my point. Like, those upper tier programs that we fancy ourselves and would like to be consistently, we're not currently, and we haven't been for some time, unfortunately. But anyway, we're trying to get back to that. 2-10 is a marker that you don't survive. You didn't pay on time.
We gave you the extra month.
Yeah.
We showed you there was an overdue balance. Power's off.
Yeah, it's up. Time's up. So
yes, it will be $49.95 convenience fee to flip the switch back on.
Yeah. So he did get that second chance. We all know that he did, partly because he did have a successful 12-0 regular season the year before, and that's not to be ignored, but also because they didn't want to pay him $80-something million to not be here while they're in the middle of leveraging the hell out of all kinds of loans for, stadium renovations in the football-only facility. So it's kind of, hang in there. Let's see if we can get some other guys around him. It's not ideal.
Folks, we just want you to know the renderings are just a projected look at what the concourse may be like.
And then the final thing was, according to Jeffrey here, I hope it works out. Yeah, you and me both, buddy.
Yep.
We all do. For more reasons than just like, listen, I'm not worried about Mike's feelings. Whatever happens with Mike, he's got more money than he could ever spend. He'll be set. He'll lament having blown this opportunity from, Tahiti or something. Like he'll be fine. The rest of us will be here working in this community, looking at our university going, God dog it, we still suck. This is not okay, man. When is this going to stop happening?
Yeah, we've had, let's see, the lost decade, the Great Recession, Jimbo's demise, Willie's tenure, 2-10, COVID.
Everybody had that, but yeah.
Well, no, but just in terms of the P&L reports, what the hell? What's our next one?
Right.
Is it Mike's 2025 too? While we're at it,
so you just kind of, very frustrating, Tom. It is very frustrating.
It's just awful timing too. That's the thing. You could talk about the booster experience, the Knoll Pass. Get out of the way. Here's my Knoll Pass.
I want to keep talking about
But
that.
if that concourse opened in 23, everybody's singing Kumbaya. But, the concourse opens in 25 after the heels of 24.
After going 2-10.
That's just unlucky.
You still feeling good that they're going to get it right?
I think it'll be fine through week 1. I don't think you're going to hear horror stories. And if you do, then that is the equivalent of going 2-10 at Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. If you hear horror stories about warm drinks or the point of sales failing or bathrooms not working, service turnaround times are 25 minutes or 30 minutes.
Can't happen.
People need to be fired right away, or you need to change your company that runs it. Like, it has to happen immediately.
No horror stories working with my friends at Tried and True Consulting. This, a group of payments and business solutions company that owned by Knowles. They do so much more than that. We've told you about the ad boards. They've told you about working with them, processing payments, no chargeback fees, all that stuff that they are capable of. Love the fact that they continue to make inroads. I know for a fact that my friends at Tried and True working with Ingram and our friends at the Battle's Inn.
Is that
Very
right?
exciting development.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Knowles helping Knowles, man. How great is that? That's huge.
This is beyond the 10% thing?
Yeah, this is beyond just kicking back money. This looks like this is going to be a thing. Like, I'll let them work that out, but things are moving in that direction, and both sides are really excited.
Get the deal done.
Yeah, it's Knowles helping Knowles, and they're doing that at a lot of places around town. I know that for sure, so that's exciting. And if you'd like them to come in and help you out, you can call Rusty or Joe or Don. Catch up with Don here real soon about some things that we're doing in the future as well. Give them a call today, 844-464-6653. That's 844-I'm4Knoll. Tom had it up on the screen as well. You could always just scan the QR code. And as always, 10% of the net revenue does go to the Battle's End. So they're still fighting the good fight over at Tried and True.
And
at the Battle's End, for
and
that
at
matter.
the Battle's End, absolutely, because they are big game hunting to make sure that if we need 3 or 4 offensive linemen in the portal, we will get 3 qualified offensive linemen in the portal.
Live spectator, I think that's going to happen, by the way. That's been talked about. How about a dress rehearsal for the concessions and Wi-Fi at Doak?
They're doing stuff this weekend.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to be fine. I really do. I know what I said. Like if it's not, then heads need to roll. But I think it's going to be okay. This weekend, they're even doing things like testing off the fireworks, like all these little details about nailing it for the Alabama game. It seems like they've got a good plan laid out for it.
I'm excited about that. That is the right thing to do. It seems standard operating procedure for anything that's buttoned up, but that's not always been the case with us. So that's good news to hear. Get it right. Can't be wrong on game day, especially if that's a game that maybe doesn't go the way we want. You can't have this other stuff burdening you in the process. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.